So I love the sound of ninth chords on the blues, and I know there's a time and a place for the grittier kind of blues and a place for the more sort of sophisticated and jazz-inflected blues. If you're going for that second thing, then ninth chords are your friend. And in this lesson, I just want to show you one way to start adding the sound of a ninth chord to your blues in E. The example that I'm using is a tune of mine called Solstice, which is a tune that I'll be teaching this summer in my membership, the Fingerstyle Five. If you want to learn more about the membership and sign up, there'll be complete lessons and complete tab for that entire tune, along with lots of other things coming up this summer. So check it out at the link below or go to fretboardconfidential.com to sign up. In the meantime, let's get into these chords. So basically, if you've got an E chord, or let's say more accurately, an E7 chord, you can play that E7 chord like this with the root and the fifth and the flat seven, the third, the fifth and the root. Or you can play a full E major chord, root, fifth, root, third, fifth, root, and then put the seventh up here. Right? So there's your flat seven at the third fret of the second string. And from here, the ninth is two notes up, going from the seventh to the root to the ninth. So if you're going to play a complete chord, that's one way to do it. Root, third, seventh, and ninth. But a shorthand for that is just to grab the seventh and the ninth. And if you're playing fingerstyle guitar, that's enough because your bass is going on down here, and then here's what you're going to communicate with the sound of the ninth chord itself, just the most important notes. Now, the thing about this sound is that if you think about this kind of blues sound, that's playing intervals of thirds. Here's the third and fifth of E, the fourth and the sixth, and then the fifth and the flat seven. So that's a really common sound. If we keep going, there are our seventh and ninth. That's the top part of this E9 chord that looks like the James Brown chord, and then we can get those same notes that we're getting on the third and second string here, over here on the second and first string. This is also the sound that comes from the classic fingerstyle song Mississippi Blues. And I'll point out the connection as soon as we move this up to an A chord. But for now, there's that sound of starting on the ninth, going over to the seventh on top, and then walking down these kind of classic blues double stops. So that tune of mine is built around that sound, played over a steady bass. And it makes a good exercise just to get this ninth sound under your fingers. So we've got four notes in the bass, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then on top, right on the downbeat of 1, you're going to play the seventh and the ninth, and then on the and, you're going to go over and play the fifth and the seventh. So on beat 2, you're going to play these two notes that look like the top of an A chord, and then on the and, you're going to play the third and the fifth of E. So maybe a hammer on when you get to the and of 2. And you can just practice that bit. And when you get that up to speed, you might try maybe playing some blues licks on beats 3 and 4. Or a chord. But just getting the chord lick itself down is the important thing. So that's the thing to try first. Now you could also take this up to A, and if you just move everything up 5 frets, there's your A9 stuff. So the A9 chord could look like this, root, third, 7, 9, over an A bass on the open 5th string, and then the lick, whoops, gotta get that thumb in the right place. So here's 7 and 9 of A on the 8th and 7th frets, and then over to the 5th and the 7th. and then down to the third and the fifth. And same timing, so 1 and 2 and maybe the hammer on there. And so I'm using middle and index, and then ring and middle, and then index with a little bar, and then index again for the hammer on. Now that's the sound that comes from that tune, Mississippi Blues. It's done a little bit differently in that song, but it starts off with that same idea. So you can use this as a kind of accompaniment figure, you can use it as a lick, or like I did, you can use it as the basis of a whole song. So this idea of playing it on E and then playing it on A one more time, and then a little answer. Here it is again on A, played twice. Some bass runs. And then from there you could go to the 5 chord. For my tune, I decided to do like a second 8-bar section with some different chords. So that's the idea. You can use it a lot of different ways, and it just starts to get that more colorful ninth sound into your playing in a way that still kind of fits with the steady bass style and some of the bluesier things you might already be doing. So that's the idea. Again, I'll be teaching my complete song, Solstice, this summer in the membership, the Fingerstyle 5. You can learn more about that, get all the tab, get all the lessons and the live streams and all that stuff when you sign up at fretboardconfidential.com. In the meantime, if you've got a question or a comment about today's lesson, leave it for me down below. I would love to hear from you. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.